In the next example, we are going to learn about build and call Power Automate cloud flows from your agent. And within that, we are going to go through a lot of these small tasks. So what we are going to basically do is we are going to extend our agent's capability by integrating Power Automate cloud flows. And what we are going to learn is Copilot Studio can pass users input to a flow and retrieve external data and displays that data back to the user in a structured and interactive format. So let's go and learn that. So to explore Power Automate usage, let's exit out of this. Let's not save it. Let's go under topics. I'm going to skip out of the test to expand it and click on check ticket status. So here you can see under trigger, there are a lot of phrases added. What is the status of my ticket? Can you get me information on the ticket status? Could you check the status of my ticket? And a lot of these sort of trigger phrases. For any of these phrases, the response is, of course, I can get you the status of your ticket, and the question node takes the ticket number because it is going to identify and ask the ticket number. It is going to save that in a variable, and then we have an action tab or action node then uses the ticket number as an input for a flow created in Power Automate. This is the flow created in the Power Automate. So if you want to see that, you can click on the flow. Let's scroll back up. So under actions, you can see that get ticket status. Click on this view flow details, and that's going to open that in the Power Automate. All right, so this is the flow. This is to get the ticket status response back. Just to let you know that this is a simulation. It's not directly connecting back from a real ServiceNow connector. You can do that as well. But just for the lab, it is just like a pseudo connection back. So if you want to modify, click on edit. This is that when Copilot Studio calls a flow, return values to Power Virtual Agents. That's the only information we have here. So this is the flow we created. Ticket number, if we enter an input value, the next flow what we have given is return this value back. In the real world scenario, there would be a node for connecting to ServiceNow, and then it would use the ticket number variable from Copilot Studio to retrieve the requested information. In the final step of the node, the retrieved data is returned to the agent. So if you click on the return value, you can see that what are the activities which is doing, cancel all future tasks, and in the final task, proceed to the next task. You will see it contains a lengthy hard-coded sample ticket with lots of information in a JSON format. So this is what a typical ServiceNow response would look like when it retrieves a ticket. So this is a fake one. We are simulating that. So let's close this and let's go back to the Copilot Studio. So if you look at under the flow, there is an output value called ServiceNow ticket info. So it takes directly that information, retrieved information, and store it in this variable called ServiceNow ticket info variable. You can see that the reference for that is retrieved from that flow we created. Under that, you can see there is a parsed value. Now let's go and test this flow. Click on test, click on refresh to create a new chat. So I'm gonna ask a new question called, what is the status of my ticket? So here you can see that the status of the ticket is email server is down because we already parsed that information, the impact category, software, things like that. If you look at it, it has a nice formatting to that, which is transformed from the JSON data the agent received. So if you if you scroll down, you can see all the message, how it is formatted using the adaptive card. Alright, now let's go and learn how to make HTTP requests to connect to an API. So let's refresh the topic. Let's go to the top topic. We have an example for that. On the topics, we have a cryptocurrency price. Click on that topic. Here there are a lot of phrases, which is what's the current price of Bitcoin? Can you tell me the latest crypto price? Things like that. And based on that, the question is going to ask to the user which option the user is going to prefer, like USD, Euro, Pound, etc. Based on the currency choice, it goes into the HTTP request. So if you click on the URL, this takes the URL to the Gemini API and combines the text with the text of the topic variable selected the topic.currency, and set the combined URL to be all lowercase. And this ensures that the URL for USD and Euro, for example, is correct for the API. And this data is saved under cryptocurrency price variable. So this is the variable. So to test this, let's click on refresh. And here I'm going to ask, what's the current bid price for Bitcoin? What currency you want to see the current price of the Bitcoin? I'll say USD, and I got a price for that. And if I select, did it answer the question? Yes, and I can rate it. If I'm going to ask one more time, let's look at the price in Euro. Let's click on Euro, and we got a different price for the Euro. All right, so that's how you can connect to an external API to get information for the agent. Because many conversational assistants are most impactful when they complete tasks or interact with external data. Now let's go and learn about how to leverage knowledge sources, AI knowledge, and custom instructions. First, let's learn how to configure a Dataverse knowledge source. So let's go back to knowledge and click on add knowledge. So we're going to add a Dataverse. So from the featured option, select Dataverse. Under the available tables, select account and click next. I think you can preview what the data is. Let me quickly show you that. So let's quickly go back and click on preview. This shows what that account Dataverse have. And go back to the account tab, click on next, click on advanced, and under synonyms, increase your agent's data retrieval accuracy by adding synonyms for complex and unclear column names in your table. Click on edit. So here we are trying to find address 1. So we have a lot of category, classification, account number, account rating. Here we can find address 1 and then click on add synonyms and click on address. And here you are going to add as address and click on add and done. In the description for the address 1, we're going to say that complete address of the account. Click back. Now if I go click on the advanced and click on edit, and now if we scroll back, when we find address 1, you can see that address 1, oh, why my description is not added? All right, so let's hope this is going to stay here. Let's click on back, click on add. And I forgot to modify the glossary. We have to modify the glossary too. Enter the term customer and the description. The customer is the synonym for account. Click next and save. And let's hope this works. If not, we will come back to this later. So now we have added the Dataverse. Now for this to completely get added, so we need to make sure that we come back to this and we get the green tick box called ready. Till then we will do other activities. Now let's go and change the security settings to authenticate with Microsoft. So we've been so far authenticating with no user account. So let's go and learn how to do that. So click on the settings under security, click on authentication. Here we are going to click on authenticate with Microsoft, click on save. So this data source requires authentication because searches are done in the context of connected end user. At minimum, only records the end user have read access to be are returned and summarized. That's why we are making this change, because we want to read something from the Dataverse. Click save, and once successfully saved, you will soon see an option with green option called authentication settings saved, and publish your agent to take that effect. So every time when we make any changes, we have to publish the agent to get the new result back to the users. So now let's go and configure a website as a knowledge source. Let's go back to the agent, or let's close this. That takes us directly to the agent. You can still see that my Dataverse is still showing as unknown. So let's add a new knowledge source. Click on add. This time I'm going to add a public website, and let's enter a public URL. I'm going to give adoption.microsoft.com and click on add and confirm the owner checkbox and click on add. Now let's test the website knowledge sources. So because we have added the adoption site, it has a lot of information about a lot of sites. To do that, let's go to our test your agent. So we're going to ask a question like, what is Microsoft Copilot Studio? Because if I go into public website, I have this adoption site, I have this learn site from Microsoft. It should get information from any of these sites about Microsoft Copilot Studio. So it is going to retrieve some information. What we are curious is what is the reference link it is going to give based on the answer. All right, it is telling me Microsoft Copilot Studio is all the features and things like that. Important note. And if you look at it, there are three reference points, and it clearly tells where the data is coming from, all coming from Microsoft Adopt or the Learn site. So let me ask a follow-up question, and I'm going to ask, how do people use it in their business environment? Although, if you notice the question I asked, oh, didn't I ask? Okay, let's go and ask another question. How do people use it in their business environment? So if you look at it, this follow-up question doesn't mention a specific product. The generative answer should maintain the context. So rather than providing all the context, because you can see that I just asked how do people use it, it understand that I'm talking about Copilot Studio and retain the context and start giving me the response based on the previous conversation. All right, so that's really good. That is working. The next what we are going to learn is we are going to learn how to configure custom instruction for any sort of classic orchestration. So let's go under topics and let's click on system and click on conversational boosting.